blah 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 blah. Blah, test. Ok. Ok. Gioseffo Zarlino, in the fourth part of the Istituzioni Armoniche, explains and shows each paragraph about one specific mode. We have already talked about the 8 tones and the 12 modes. We have already analyzed in the previous chapters, in chapter 2 and 3, a lot of Bicinia. We said that the 8 tones are something concerning more the affects in their cadences connected to cantus firmus, while the modes are just a simple construction in the scale, so consisting of a diapente plus a diatessaron. The diapente cum diatessaron ascending if it is authenticus and descending if it is plagalis. We have already analyzed all the Bicinia provided by Zarlino, but we haven't talked in depth about what Zarlino says about this. So in this chapter, chapter 4 of tones and mode course, which is very important for counterpoint, we will better study what Zarlino says in that, especially about other elements, other aspects at the end, which are very important for the Renaissance counterpoint. All these Bicinia that you can see here, they are Bicinia we have already analyzed, sung, and practiced. But it's also nice to take this opportunity to practice them again, reading here from the original source, so without the vertical alignment I made to play it on the keyboard. So let's start now with the primus modus. We are in Gioseffo Zarlino, Le Istituzioni Armoniche, pay attention, edition, the first edition, 1558. Why? Because in the later editions, Zarlino changed the order of the modes. So the first mode is not anymore starting on De La Sol Re, but on Che Sol Fa Ud. What's the principle? The principle is that if we have this diapente cum diatessaron, primus and secundus, third and fourth, fifth and sixth, seventh and eighth, 9 and 10, 11th and 12th, this is very high for the tenor, and so it transposes it an octave down in order to have something which is acceptable for the tenor. And the 12th mode, or better, the 11th mode, is nothing more than the quintus tone, so the 5th ecclesiastical tone, transposed from cantus firmus to cantus figuratus, as Banchieri showed in that table. So now, let's analyze the first modus. Here you can see the original source and then an English translation I provided for you. We are in chapter 18. detailed discussion on the first mode, its nature, principles, and cadences. Principles, I kept the original word. The original word is principi. Principi. What does it mean in Italian? Because principio can mean principle, okay? But principle is the way to start. What is at the beginning? I don't know if in English this is totally correct, but I wanted to keep the original word. Now, when we'll find the example, you will see it. I will now begin the discussion of each mode separately, starting with the first, so that we proceed in order. And I will first show that it is not only in use among the ecclesiastics, but also throughout the entire school of musicians. Then I will demonstrate where it can be properly initiated this way, so you can start a melody in a specific tonus, which in cantus firmus we have a lot of possibilities. For example, we can start any melody in any mode, almost from any note. Here in cantus figuratus, we are more strict. And where, both in this and each of the other modes, cadences can be made, not omitting to discuss somewhat its nature. I say then that the first mode is the one, as I have shown, which arises from the fourth species of the diapason. Remember, the fourth species of the diapason is in Cantus Firmus chapter 3, from D to D, divided harmonically, found between these two extremes, note, DD, which division Practici say that this mode is composed of the first species of the diapente, re, mi, fa, sol, la, from D to A, placed in the lower register, and the first species of the diatessaron, AD, placed above the diapente, re, mi, fa, sol. So remember, this is ascending, re, mi, fa, sol, la, re, mi, fa, sol. Infinite ecclesiastical chants of these modes are found, such as introits, graduals, alleluias, antiphonals, responsories, and other similar things. Here now is talking about cantus firmus, so remember what we studied in the cantus firmus course. And among other musicians, there are almost infinite compositions under this mode, such as masses, motets, hymns, madrigals, and other songs, among which are the motets Veni Sancte Spiritus, Di Vittime Pascali, composed for 6 voices, the madrigal Il Giunto Ma Amor by Adrian Villart. Of course, when you say Adriano, it means Villart. Written this way, Adrian Villart. For 5 voices. I also composed many chants. Chants mean cantilene, the original word, in this mode. Among them, 2 motets for 5 voices, O Beatum Pontificem and Nigra Sum sed Formosa. Many other compositions by many excellent musicians are also found, which I leave unnamed to avoid being collected. In each example, Zarlino says about some composition written in that mode. And although the true and natural principles, not only of this but also of every other mode, are in the extreme note of their diapente and diatessaron, and in the middle note divides the diapente into a ditono and semiditono. Yet many chants are found that have their beginning on other notes, which I will not enumerate to avoid being neglected. So what he's saying is that what are the principles? So what are the points where you can start a melody, a composition in that specific tonus, mode? From the modal point of view, so not the 8 tones, but from the mode point of view, it's very schematic, very mathematical. You have the diapente, and you have the 1st degree and the 5th degree of the diapente, so the extreme notes of the diapente, and the same thing for the diatessaron. The diatessaron, you have the extreme notes of the diatessaron, this and this. In addition, you have that note in the middle of the diapente, so the 5th, which is in this case F out, which divides the diapente into a semiditono and a ditoro. In this case, semiditono down, re mi fa, and ditono up. Fa sol la, ditonus, semiditonus are intervals, so all this terminology refer Cantus Firmus chapter 3 for the ancient way to conceive, to think about intervals. All is connected, as you can see. So the natural principles are on de, sol, re, a, la, mi, re, de, sol, re, de, la, sol, re, and F out. The ecclesiastics, so we are now reading here, observed in their chant certain middle ends, and the end of each clausula or period, and of every perfect oration, which some call cadences, which are very necessary for the distinction of the words that generate the perfect sense in the oration, in the oratio, in the speech. And he who wishes to know what they are can read chapter 53 of the third part, because I have discussed such matters sufficiently, and he will be able to have full knowledge of them. But this is a matter about counterpoint, so we will talk this later in another course in the future, more focused on counterpoint. Hence, it will suffice in its place, in this place, only. Hence, it will suffice in this place only to say now and always that the cadences are found of two kinds, that is, regular and irregular. Remember this principle. We have regular cadences and irregular cadences. Chords of the modes, when we say chords, we say corde, so not chords in terms of C major, of course. We're talking about the positions of the monochord, the letters you know, you studied in sonization, A, B, C. The chord of the mode, and where the diapason in each mode is harmonically or arithmetically mediated or divided by the middle chorda, so the chorda media, the mean chorda, the letter in the middle, which will be in the extreme notes of the diapente and the diatessaron. What we said before. This. Similarly, where the diapente is divided by a middle note into a ditono and semiditono. F. To put it better, where are the true and natural principles of each mode. The others that are made wherever wanted, they are called irregular. So the principle and so the regular principle are on, from a modern point of view, degree 1, 3, 5, and 8. All the other notes are irregular. This is the mathematical principle given by Zarlino, which is valid for all the modes. Of course, most authentic, because if we consider the octave of the modus plagalis, we have to consider the tessaron, so the fourth, the diapason, the diapente, so the fifth, and the ditonus and semiditonus of the diapente, so the middle note, re, mi. Remember that the tonus plagalis is descending, so la, sol, fa, mi, re, la, a, la, mi, re, de, sol, re, F out, a, la, mi, re, sol, fa, mi, re, la, sol, fa, mi, re, but this is the secundus tonus. We talk this in the next video. So, the regular cadences of the first mode are those that are made on these notes, D, F, A, and D. The irregular are those that are made on the other notes, such for example, G. But so that more easily it is discerned what has been said, I will put an example for two voices from which can be recognized the proper place of the regular cadences and see the way that has to be kept in their modulations. Modulations here is the ancient term of modulation. So we are not talking about making modulation from D to A minor. The modulation is the way how to write the melody, so the melodical succession of the notes. This will not only be observed in the first mode, but in the others as well, as we will see. However, it must be noted that the cadences of the psalmody, very important, must always be made where falls the term of the mediations and of their intonations. Hence, the cadences of the mediation of middle point or middle point of the first, the fourth, and the sixth will be made in alla mire. But this is something we have already studied in chapter 2 when we saw how to make vicinium, and when we analyzed the Vicinia by Pietro Ponzio and the Magnificat by Palestrina for voices and two voices, with the cadences, with the specific cadences of the psalmody. So he says that when you write psalmody, pay attention to follow the cadences of the psalmody. So on the where the psalm makes the cadence in the middle, Dixit Dominus Domino meo alla mire, sed dea dextris meis. The sol re. So the first meo, and the sixth, Dixit Dominus Domino meo, have the middle cadence in alla mire, different from the 12 mode system. The secundus tonus in F, the same of the third, that of the second in F, that of the third, the fifth, and eighth in C. So the secundus tonus, which is Dixit Dominus Domino meo, middle cadence in F out, tertius tonus, fifth, quintus tonus, fifth, and eighth tone, octavus tonus in C for faut. Why? Tertius tonus, Dixit Dominus Domino meo, sol fa mi re fa, and then sede ad dextris meis. Quintus tonus, fa re fa, Dixit Dominus Domino meo, and octavus tonus, Dixit Dominus Domino meo, and the last one, so the seventh in E, being that such middle points or middle notes. Why? Let's sing the septimus tonus. Dixit Dominus Domino meo. The cadence is on E la mi, as you can see. It's true that here we're talking about the corde naturali, the natural letters. Then the seventh mode in cantus firmus is always transposed down because it's very acute. So it will be A, for example, with the flat. Dixit Dominus Domino meo, sedes ad dextris meis. But this is something we have already studied in Cantus Firmus in chapter 2 of this course, and then now you are connecting all these points. Being that such middle melodies and middle points, I'm reading here, or middle notes, and there, as can be seen in the aforementioned book Recanetto, this book Recanetto, in the Toscanello, which is the book by Pietro Aron, and in many other books which contain such psalmody or intonations as we want to call them, psalmody or intonation. Okay. The first mode is quite long because he talks about psalmody and other things. The other are shorter, but now we have finished this video. Don't worry. How do you say in English? Keep going. Never give up. Okay. The finals then. So the finals, we're talking about the final note. What are the notes you can use to finish a mode? The final then are always made in the place where each verse of such psalmody of each psalm are made to end. So the finalis of a modes composed, of a piece composed in the modes, or better in the tones of the psalm, are where the psalm is finishing. For example, the quintus tonus, you may imagine that the quintus modus, from a modern point of view, the Lydian, so-called Lydian, starts in F, and so will finish in F. No, not in the psalm. Dixit Dominus Domino meus, et ad dextris meis. The cadence is on alla mi re, as we saw in chapter 2 of this course, analyzing Palestrina's Magnificat, because those psalmody, those modes, belong to the psalmody. We must also always observe to make the cadences mainly in the tenor. This is very important. The tenor is the main part of a composition. Being this part is the principal guide of each mode, upon which the chant is composed. And from it, the composer must take the invention of the other parts. It is indeed true that such cadences are also made in the other parts, and these according to what is more convenient. So you can actually make a cadence to any key, any note, more than any key, any note. But pay attention that the tenor is the most important part, and as we saw according to Pietro Ponzio in the 8th mode, in chapter 2, the cadences outside of the corde forte, of the strong chord, of the strong letter of the note, it's better to be transitory cadence, as we have already studied. This mode, so the primus modus with the ninth, has a very close relationship, because musicians compose in its proper place their chant of the ninth mode, outside of its natural chords, corde naturali, transporting it in the acute fora di attesa, or in the grave fora di appente, leaving the B natural and placing the B flat, as did the Spanish Morales in the motet Santa et Immaculata Virginitas for 4 voices. This is what we studied in Cantus Firmus, and we said about the graduale Gaudeamus omnes in Domino. I think, okay, it's here, exactly. Also in this PDF, you can download. This is very particular because any corda B we can find in this piece is always flat. So this means that it's a transposition of the primus modus irregularis. In Cantus Firmus it is called primus modus irregularis. Here in polyphony, in the 12 mode system, it is called 9th mode. Re mi fa sol la mi fa sol la, re mi fa sol la mi fa sol la. So that's why sometimes modes can be confusing, because there are different point of view, different traditions. There is Cantus Firmus, there is Cantus Figuratus, there are the 8 tones, there are the tones of the psalmody, and then there are the 12 modes. But if you understand how to make any reasonment in each specific environment, you can say, okay, this is primus modus, true, but this is also the 9th mode transposed for this reason. And this is very similar to the 7th tonus of the psalmody, as Banchieri and Camillo Angleria showed. We studied this, remember, in chapter 2. So you can make all your relationships and say, okay, this is similar to that, this is similar to other reason, and what is better to say, here in Cantus Firmus, from a Cantus Firmus point of view, we cannot say 9th mode. We have only the 8 tones, so this is primus tonus irregularis, first irregular tone. From a polyphony point of view, remember that, for example, the Missa Gaudeamus by Josquin de Pré we have already analyzed, which is also here, finishes on alla mi re. Let's see here, a cadence on alla mi re. So this is the 9th mode, that, if it is transposed out, becomes the primus tonus irregularis. This way. So let's come back to our first mode. this mode with the ninth has a very close relationship because musicians compose in its proper place their chant of the ninth mode outside of its corde naturali, natural positions, transporting it in the acute of a diatessaron, so from A la mi re to De la sol re, or in the grave for a diapente, so from A la mi re to De sol re, leaving the B natural and placing the B flat, as did the Spanish Morales, okay. And because the first mode has a certain median effect between the sad and the cheerful, due to the semiditono, so to the minor third, heard in the harmony above the extreme notes of the diapente and the diatessaron, re mi fa sol la, re mi fa sol la, sol la, not otherwise having the ditono from the grave, sol fa mi, side by its nature. It is somewhat sad. So this is a very interesting analysis made by Zarlino. Zarlino says, okay, we have these very strong positions, De and A. He says, we have Re, Mi, Fa, a semiditonos, and descending Sol, Fa, Mi, a semiditonos. Let's analyze A la Mi, Re. Re, Mi, Fa, we have a semiditonos. So these three semiditoni create a somewhat sad effect. Therefore, we could excellently accommodate to it those words which are fully of gravity and that deal with lofty and sententious matters, so that the harmony matches the material contained in them. And this is the something concerning the affect of the modus. We have already talked about the affect of the 8 tones in the Cantus Firmus course, but here we are focusing on what Zarlino says about the modes. And remember that, as Bacchieri showed in the previous chapter, chapter 3 of this course, primus modus and primus tonus, they match. So now, after analyzing this, we can sing the Vicinium with both separately part. Remember the tactus, which is minima, 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 using hexachordal solmization. So let's read the soprano. Re, 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 do, re, mi, fa. Even a little bit slower. Re, 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 do, re, mi, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, re, re, mi, fa, mi, la, sol, la, re, mi, fa, re, mi, re, 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 sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, la, re, ut, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, la, la, sol, la, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, la, sol, la, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, re, 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 ut, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, mi, re, fa, mi, ut, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, ut, fa, mi, la, ut, re, mi, fa, mi, la, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, mi, re, ut. So fa, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, re, mi, fa, mi, re, fa, mi, sol, la, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, fa, mi, la, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, ut, mi, fa, re, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, sol. And this way we have the final cadence. Now, let's also sing the tenor. We have the the longa rest, so 4 tactus, and then let's do the tenor a little bit faster. I'll beat the right hand. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Re, 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 do, re, mi, fa, mi, la, sol, la, sol, fa, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, re, re, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, re, sol, la, re, mi, fa, re, mi, re, sol, 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 fa, sol, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, re, do, re, mi, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, fa, la, sol, fa, re, fa, ut, re, mi, fa, re, re, la, ut, re, mi, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, sol, re, fa, mi, fa, la, fa, sol, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, ut, fa, sol, la, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, sol. 1, re, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, sol, re, mi, fa, mi, re, ut, fa, mi, re. And this way we have studied the primus modus according to Zerlino, and let's move on and let's pass to the next video talking about the secundus modus.